So hey guys, today we're talking about the event. In the current event, the ban list is different. So it is like TCG ban list, which sucks to be honest, because first off, you don't have a heads up on this, right? Second of all, you will not get a refund if you craft like something just for this event, right? So it's only worth to play like mostly like SR or rare cards that are no longer at one. Well, if you have uh points to spare for URs, probably not, right? So in case of URs, we have, for example, like the Kishtira stuff. So Kishtira arguably got nerfed, but not really. Because like if I was playing Vanquish Soul, I think I would prefer this ban list, honestly, because I can run like 3 copies of Raytoth and 3 copies of Fenrir. So every single one of these cards is both Earth and a Fire, for example. And before we continue on with that, I just want to say, Deck Lockdown is actually such a disgusting card. There are so many decks that just died to Deck Lockdown right now. I'm not sure if this was the case before, but just for example, if we have branded, okay, the only exact thing you're allowed to do is activate either branded fusion or you can activate like Serenir and try to Grand Goog null the branded fusion that way. That's all you can do. Is this negate a Luber, this negates branded opening, and any other search card really. And any card that special summons and special summon to search, all of those things don't really work. That also means fusion deployment doesn't work, and it doesn't completely stop branded, but just so many things get stopped by this, right? Just for example, though, let's go to this Mikanko. If we go to Mikanko, you cannot activate Ohime. Ohime adds a card from your deck to the hand, which is an illegal action because of deck lockdown. Arabesque can special summon from hand or deck. So if you don't have a Mikanko monster in hand special summon, Arabesque is now an illegal activation as well. And if you were to special summon Hare, the Sword Mikanko, for example, this card is going to not be able to search. So it's just a bit of a sitting duck here, right? Mikanko does a lot of special summoning from deck and adding cards, right? Well, I guess you're allowed to draw, but not add, per se, right? So another one, Exosister. Can you play without special summoning or adding a card? No, you cannot. Martha special summons from deck and only deck, right? So you're not allowed to activate Martha. You can't do Aratama and Sakitama. You can do like just Sakitama, I guess, but yeah. And then you could make one of these Exosisters, but you just pass because you can't do anything else. And worth mentioning is that Vadis specifically is not activatable, but I guess Returnia is. So this is just considering the card by itself, but this is where this card really becomes degenerate. So unlike Skill Drain, for example, which in this format is at 3, okay, so great, and just saying we don't have Red Reboot at all. Red Reboot is banned, so that sucks. Deck Lockdown, you can activate this whenever. You don't have to activate this at the start of your main phase or anything, so uh, this is pretty crazy. And also throwing it in there, this obliterates Lab because, uh, you can't special summon like Lady Lab or Lovely or anything else for that matter with your welcomes. As long as they're trying to summon from deck at least, because specifically this for some reason can special summon from hand, deck, or graveyard. Okay? I don't know why you threw in hand, because like you could use the furniture cards to get them out of the hand, but alright. I guess. And just checking real quick. Didn't they ban Eradicator? No, they didn't. It's at 3. Huh. What? Really? And one more check. Let's see. Dimensional barrier. Nope, still at 3. Yeah, what a nice ban list. That looks fun to play for sure. Yeah, 3 skill drain. 3 dimensional barrier with 3 copies of Eradicator. No comment. Anyway, uh, the point is, like, most decks will get affected by deck lockdown some way at least, right? So this isn't going to be a good going second card, of course, but going first, this card is absolutely brutal. Just for example, let's say I am playing, well, this isn't like that good of a deck to play this in, but I am playing, let's say, Super Heavy Samurai. Then I do my full combo, I end on like my 2-3 Omnis or whatever, with whatever else, and then I just activate deck lockdown. And I no longer need to add cards from my deck to my hand, nor do I need to like special summon any monsters from my main deck. So I am perfectly fine and content to activate deck lockdown, and then I will just simply like murderize you the next turn. And this just works. Oh, just for funsies, I'll throw this in here. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber summons from deck, so this card's not activatable either. So, yeah, still worse than Dark Hole and Raigeki in my opinion, but yeah, so many reasons why it can be worse just randomly. But yeah. Imagine seeing Fossil Dyna on your opponent's field, and then you have Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Now that's pain. But yeah. I am not that big a fan of the TCG ban list, so yeah. We have Called By at 1, so that's right. I guess you should just play Crossout. But no one is going to craft Crossout, so that makes this event kind of awful. So, like, most people will probably only have like 1 Crossout, if any. And with your copy of Crossout, this is primarily what you have to deal with hand traps. Aside from that, there's Gamma, I guess, which is at 1, which makes this super unplayable. So your opponent can just, if your opponent just activates Roll and Lockbird, the hell are you supposed to do here? Like, assuming your deck is affected by like Drill and Lockbird or Dimension Shifter, I guess I'll just go screw myself, right? Like, what? 3 copies of Shifter, 3 copies of Drill and Lockbird, and then you do have 3 Crossout, but that would first off require you to play Shifter and then these 3 copies of Crossout. But like, let's disregard that. Like, just disregard it, right? Even though you're likely only going to run 1 in this Master Duel specific format, right? Because who is going to generate 2 Crossouts for this event, right? Like, no one, right? You have 1 of Called By. So, 1 of Called By, 3 of Crossout. But for this, you need to run Dimension Shifter, right? So, realistically, all you have is 1 Called by the Grave versus 3 Troll and Lockbird and 3 Dimension Shifter. Well, what the hell is up with that? What am I supposed to do about this exactly? Like, what? My bad? Play better, I guess? Like, what? Uh, just saying, this is kind of funny as well. Like, of course, Maxi is banned, but like, with Troll and Lockbird at 3, right? What do you do against Shifter if you have Droll, right? This isn't gonna do anything. That's right. And if we have like Ash Blossom, this is good and all, but if we just run a lot of engine cards, your hand traps don't do that much in this format to an extent, right? Unless you're running Shifter and Drill and Lockbird, in which case, your opponents can't really play. So just cards that trade, they're not as good, like Ash Blossom Drift Spring, considering you need a play of your own as well. But like on the other hand, floodgate hand traps like Drill and Lockbird and Dimension Shifter is not playable because for some reason Called by the Grave is at 1, right? So consistently right now for most players, you will just have like one of Crossout, and then you would have to run whatever these are as well. So realistically, you're never going to be running Dimension Shifter if you have Crossout. Like that's just not a thing, right? And I mean, on the bright side, probably no one's psycho enough to craft like the third copy of Shifter because Shifter is semied right now. But yeah, if someone were to just craft another Shifter, how would you like? Ha just imagine this, right? You have one copy of Called by the Grave to deal with Dimension Shifter at 3 and Drill and Lockbird at 3. What? What is this insanity? There's like a 1% chance for you to open, I think, or something like that. Like, really low percent chance, right? It's like somewhere around 5% maybe, 5%. I don't remember the exact number to open a 1 of in 40, but that's around it where it is, right? So pretty low, right? So if we have Dimension Shifter and Droll and Lockbird, so the odds of you having to deal with one of them, what are the odds of this? It's like somewhere around 40%. So well, we can do some rounding and just say that around like 1 in 10 games, you'll probably open Called by the Grave. And then about 50% of your games, you can be getting Dimension Shifter and Droll and Lockbirded. What? What is the point of this? And of course, knowing our current like ban list, right? We just there is no point of us crafting like any of these things. Like for example, I just happen to have an extra copy of Thinner, and dismantling this doesn't give me like anything. So I just kept it, it's just 10 UR, right? But like I would need to like, for example, craft 3 copies of Fenrir or 1 copy of Fenrir just for myself. But like typically if you had only one, these as one-ofs because that's what they are. They're limited cards. You would have to craft 2 Fenrir and then 2 Raidsoth, and this event goes away pretty fast. So that'll be that, right? So this event, like overall, not one of my favorite events for sure. I mean, it was kind of a cool idea, but I probably wouldn't want to see this again. Even if this was like a long-standing secondary format, I don't think I would like this format either. Because the ban list is not very good for Master Duel, as you can see, just like skill drain, deck lock down. So let me adjust this list to show you guys how disgusting I can make this. So we have Fenrir and we have copies of Pressured Planet Raid stuff, so we'll just keep them. Like, why would I not? What are you gonna do about it? Fenrir is still Fenrir, right? I can Fenrir at Fenrir, and then that's more copies of Fenrir. Why is Fenrir and Raidsoth at 3 in the TCG anyways? It's good for specifically, I don't know, like Vanquish Soul, because Fenrir in hand essentially can be like Fire in hand plus Fenrir on field, or Fenrir on field with Earth in hand. So all good. So just checking. Inspector. Oh, lovely. Not for you, but Inspector border is at 3. And of course, this is best of 1. What is a side deck? Oh boy. TCG format. This sure looks fun to play in Master Duel, right? So, what else can we put in? Oh, Runic Fountain is actually at 2 here. So actually, what are the Runic cards at? Oh, they're at 3. Wow. This sure would be fun, right, guys? Flashing Fire 3, Destruction 3, Greasing Curses 3, and then throw in copies of Slumber, Storm, and I don't think you need to run like that much else, but yeah, just to keep it simple, we can do it like this. And then you'll probably want some of these guys, some of these guys, some of these guys. Don't really care. What's this say? Destroy this card during your second standby phase after activation. Can you protect deck lockdown from destruction? I genuinely don't know. This only happens on the second standby phase? So can you actually protect deck lockdown? With like maybe Hugin, for example? Or actually, let's say we use, for example, well, you should be able to do this, right? Curly, Curly Happy Memory. Like, does this count as a factor cost? Or can I use like Dingirsu to protect deck lockdown? Never really thought about that. We'll have to test later, but yeah. Wow, all of the stun cards are pretty legal. So then we have Gozen Match. Oh yeah, that's legal again. Well, I mean, it already was. No, not this. Wait, hold up. Okay, Duality. What is this at? 3. Okay, okay. What about uh Card of Demise? 1. At least this is sensible enough to be at 1. But alright. How do you play against this exactly? Well, it doesn't even have to be like a runic variant anymore. Instead of runic, we could do something else. But it's just the general idea that you can do this, right? So, I will shifter you if I go second, and I will stun you going first. Basic concept right there, right? And what will you do about this? If you don't happen to have back row, you're screwed. If you have, or I mean, if you don't have back row removal, you're screwed. If you have back row removal, you can probably also get screwed. So that's great, you know. Just get the runic specific back row removal, which feels awful to play. Definitely great. I too love my banish back row MST. Great. Always lovely, right? But just conceptually as well, you could just make whatever endboard you want and then just drop a deck lockdown on your opponent. So, going first, pretty degenerate. And then, yeah, going second doesn't seem that fun, just in general. Well, if you're going second, like, this looks pretty good, I don't know. But honestly, like, if you don't play, like, Drone Lockbird or Dimension Shifter, I don't think you can stop FDKs that easily. Like, if I run just 40 engine cards for an FDK, I don't know if, like, Ash Blossom or Imperm is enough to stop, like, a lot of FDKs. And Maxi actually did somewhat curb, like, FDKs to an extent, because the majority of FDKs need to special summon a lot. So, not really sure about, like, this, for example, right? But I mean, I want to know what you guys think as well. So, this is mostly it, but I don't think there's anything super interesting to do in this event because most people, I think, just the majority, are going to just play whatever deck they normally play with just a few adjustments. I mean, in my case, I don't play Mexi, so I don't have to make like any adjustments to any of my decks. So it's like I'm playing the exact same game mostly, except with less consistency because, oh, one called by. Well, I sure hope I don't get hit by Dimension Shifter or Droll and Lockbird. In which case, I guess, uh, just play Orchist, I guess. Like, I mean, wait, Harp is still at 1. I mean, at least you have 3 Gearsu and 3 Orchist Nightmare. Still pretty playable. Having 1 Harp just sucks, though, just randomly. We have 3 Galatea. Why do we have 1 Harp? Wow, okay. And then, I don't know, randomly you can't play Pen, so that's great. Like, uh, just random stuff. I don't remember exactly what else TCG is different, but I don't know. Red Reboot being banned is actually just awful for Master Duel specifically, right? So, of course, we have evenly matched, I guess, still. But I mean, stun in general is just a losing battle, considering you you can only main deck so many good back row removal cards. And even if you do main deck them, there are outs to your outs that your opponent's more likely to see than you were to see your out to begin with. Because they'll open 5 cards and then they'll draw like 3 with like demise or something, right? And then set 2, probably pass, like set 2 more, right? And then pass because they demised, right? And then there is also just for example, like some dumb stuff you can do. So uh decisive battle of Golganda. Once per turn, if a card you control would be destroyed by battle or a card effect, you assign one future monster that mentions Fallen Felbaz as material from your extract to the graveyard instead. So if you read this another way, this is protect your cards 15 times from battle or destruction. And also, while you're at it, plus yourself a little bit, assuming you're running like some stuff, some dogmatic stuff, right? So you can just grab like Fleur de Lis and stuff, right? Or maybe you actually are playing Fallen of Albaz and you just Fallen of Albaz your opponent. Great. Not much you can do about that. So let's see, what else is banned here? I don't remember anymore, but well, circular is just banned, I guess. I mean, it's just a little bit different, but I mean, if you don't play these decks, I'm not sure why you particularly care if you were just playing Master Duel format, honestly. Whatever. I don't know, if I want to like Mech Knight someone though, I can probably resolve Scars just fine, right? Yeah. Nothing is really affected here, per se. And for like Droll, if you actually care about Droll, I guess you can still run Prohibition at least, which is cheaper than going Crossout. But unlike Crossout, you must use your Prohibition, right? So if you Prohibition declare a Droll, it's kind of something you have to do. Aside from this, I guess Droll is just something you kind of have to deal with. Meh. Speaking of Droll, though, I guess it's worth talking about this now. Uh, let's change back to Unlimited for a second. So with Max C just being a card that just existed, no one really wanted to run Droll most of the time because it just has a lot of anti-synergy with Max C, and that's the primary reason you don't like a lot of people don't run Droll to an extent, right? There are also like a bunch of decks that aren't super affected by Droll. Like just for example, we'll throw one out there like Ninja. Like Ninja is not affected that much by Droll. Lab probably doesn't care. The only way Lab cares is if somehow their entire hand is just nothing but like dumb cards that do nothing. Like I don't know. Maybe they have arguably Labyrinth. Is a do nothing card because like you ash this and then this doesn't do anything either, right? Add this to that card's affected resolution. Yeah, so if this gets ashed, this will not activate, right? Well, this won't be able to add the pop effect. And like, I don't know, assuming like extra of 1, normal Ariana 2. Ariana wouldn't be able to uh add a card. That's the best mileage you'll get out of Droll, I guess. Probably. And then there's also like just for example, let's see. Shtira, honestly, I don't know what you do with Kashtira now because you have no Arise Heart, so it's like pretty awkward. This is banned in TCG, but uh, assuming in Master Duel you're just playing Master Duel format, right? Kashtira Unicorn adding Theosis, right? And then special summon Fenrir, then Fenrir can't search Rise Heart. So, I mean, if that happens, uh, I guess you can not do much from there. You just pass on either like Unicorn Fenrir or like Shengra Era. Something like that. I guess that's like, that's whatever. But I mean, I like if you start rates off, I think that's where it hurts the most. If you get drolled on rates off. So, sure. I guess that matters now, but like what are you going to droll if you're playing? Like when are you going to droll against Elblick? Hmm. Sword Soul as well was a deck, you know? Sword Soul doesn't have a good point to droll either because they do all their searching at literally the exact same time. So after it resolves, they're probably not searching anything. Unless for some reason they decide, huh, today I'm feeling like adding Sword Soul Emergence instead of just long wand straight up. You know, unless something like that happens, Droll is never going to be online, right? And I have this many copies of it, Ecclesia. Well, yeah. This is just not doing a whole lot, or it is doing a whole lot. In, in which case, it's cracked. So, for example, against Vanquish Soul, most hands you want to be resolving Rosin and Xiaolong. Well, I mean, now they can't add, so best you're going to get is probably just Rosin, pop one card. So, I guess that kind of sucks for you. And then there is like Super Heavy Samurai. This loses to Droll right now as well. Branded right now. Branded Fusion is at 1, so they're not as likely to just open it. So they'll probably need to do some searching, or they need to kind of like Foolish Burial Good some stuff to get Branded Fusion through the graveyard. So if they can do that, that plays their control. If they can't do that because their hand just does not allow it, then yeah, you're screwed. You're getting drolled, right? And this just prevents access to Branded Fusion and stuff, so that's pretty good. It was pretty good against like Flu as well, because like let's say normal summon Robina, chain blocking doesn't matter. You just drop the droll and the turn is over, and they're not gonna get to Barrier Statue. If it's in their hand, they better uh have normal summoned it like immediately after Robina, which I don't think anyone would ever do. But yeah. Drill Knockbird was just underrated for a long time. I mean, it was still like at the very least decent, but a lot of the time, well, I played Zombie World and Graveyard decks anyway, so whenever I saw someone change Drill Knockbird, I was just thinking to myself, damn, do you really think I'll add a second card to my hand? And then I proceeded to not add a second card in my hand in full combo. Because, you know, Graveyard decks. That is how it be. So, yeah. I'm not sure. I'd have to look through all of the like uh different like ban lists and stuff to see if there really were a lot of good decks or timings to use like Drill and Lockbird or not, but yeah. Drill and Lockbird overall always a pretty solid card, right? To an extent. Well, it depends somewhat on what you're playing because it does work like as a way to stop Maxi, but which is just nice that it can do that, but not completely necessary because if you're playing 3 Ash Blossom and 2 Called by and Ash Blossom are more generic in what they do than Droll and Lockbird and can just in general always get value, right? Whereas Droll and Lockbird doesn't always get value, so there was that downside to Droll as well, so yeah. I don't know though. Hey, if we were playing under this ban list, I just think Stun is back. And that's already enough for me to dislike this. So, yeah, that's kind of annoying. But I mean, with Maxi gone, this just means people can run more of a different hand trap. So, notably about Maxi, Maxi of course has more cards that counter it than other cards. Even more so in this format, right? In TCG format, you have one called by. So, if you're getting impermed, what are you going to do about infinite impermanence? Your deck either has to have like a way to play around it, like for example, Vanquish Soul can deal with imperm, right? Or you just suffer, I guess, because you just have to tank hand traps. So in particular, this actually does introduce like a new kind of problem. So decks that end up being able to play through hand traps are going to be really good, and then that they'll probably full combo, and then you won't have much to do, right? So then you'd have to run like stuff that's like really degen, like Droll and Lockbird or Dimension Shifter, right? That or you just hope you draw the right amount of hand traps and they work. That or targeted hand traps. So generically, it doesn't sound that fun. Like, oh, cool. I opened Droll and Lockbird, and then I opened Infinite Impermanence and Ash Blossom Joe Spring. But my opponent was playing, I don't know, uh, the deck that doesn't care about Droll and Lockbird, Ash Blossom Joe Spring, or Infinite Impermanence. So great. Guess I lose now, and I hope when I queue up next game that doesn't happen again. So I mean, that kind of situation can come up, just not being able to have the right hand traps for the right deck. Notably, like if we have Droll and Lockbird, and then like Ash Blossom Joe Spring, and then we have like 3 Imperm, and we're playing against Sword Soul. Oh, cool. My opponent normal summoned Moyi, summoned a token, and then they made Chizao special summoning Long One to make Baron. Cool. I didn't draw Infinite Impermanence, I just said Ash Blossom, Joy Spring, and Droll and Lockbird. So what was I supposed to do here? Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to stop the Moyi draw? Like, alright, yeah. Sure, that sounds like a great idea. I already know, like, they have like a Warm in hand because of Moyu as well. So like when they add Longwa, I already know that, or yeah, I already know they have like Aaron, and that just makes it so two of my like cards in hand are just immediately dead, and then now I will have 4 cards to deal with my opponent's hand, which in this case, if they were playing Sword Soul, right? That would be a 2-card combo, and they draw 1, so they would have and they only normal summon 1, so they would have like 4 cards in hand still for you to play around. So great, and don't forget Chisao and Baron. Yeah, great. I can totally play against that, right? And then even worse, let's see if Protos is legal. Might as well. Protos is banned, right? Okay, so at least you're not getting Protos. You have that going on at least, right? So yeah, these 3 cards completely dead and unusable. So you didn't open one of your 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Just play better, I guess, right? But if you had at least like Maxi, then you would have had something going, you would have had more cards to play, right? That would be better for you, right? I guess if you were running instead Effect Veiler, maybe you would have been doing better. Then you could have Effect Veilered the Moyi. Great. But like at the same time, all right, there are decks that don't care about infinite impermanence or effect failure that much. Welcome, welcome. Danger Dark World. So we have all of our danger cards. We have enough, right? Tsuchinoko and Jackalope being at 1, that kind of sucks, but I mean, you don't need those ones that much, right? And we have Dark World cards, and for some reason, in TCG they don't care about Silva because you know what, Silva is still at 3, even though it's banned in Master Duel. So yeah, I will hand loop you with Silva pretty easily. Or in fact, you can just hand loop with only Cerulean and no Silva, and that still works. And I could demonstrate it, but I don't really think it's worthwhile to demonstrate because yeah, the only exact card that you can open probably to stop me is you either open Dimension Shifter or Droll and Lockbird. If you do not have Droll and Lockbird, you have lost. Simple as that. So let me ask you this. When do you think danger cards or Dark World cards activate? So if I activate, for example, Danger Mothman, it'll be special summoned to the field and then just at that point become a vanilla, or it activates in the hand to use its effect to discard and special summon. So you can't imperm or effect failure that. And then there is the graveyard effect, which you can't stop that either. And then there is the same thing, kind of, for the danger card. So Genta effect in hand, can't really stop that unless you have Ash Blossom, but you'll only be able to do it once. Genta is something I can do more than once. And then there is also me just activating, for example, the card effects in the graveyard, so like Cerulean effect in the graveyard, uh, there is Snow effect in the graveyard, Rainbow effect in the graveyard. All of those aren't really stoppable. So, good luck dealing with that, I guess. Speaking of which, though, I'm still waiting for the other fusion card for Dark World. There should be another one. I don't know when that comes out. Would would be nice, Just having Gruffa feels a bit bad. Like all these effects are hard once per turn, but I mean, if you think about it, you should probably be using a session and then returning a session from the graveyard. Like this play should happen like sometimes, right? And then the only thing I'm going to do with a session now is probably just discard it again. Because what else am I gonna do, right? And then I guess we can a session effect to make a second Greffa, I guess. But this doesn't do much, right? You can only use this effect of Griffa, Dragon Overlord of Dark World once per turn. So it's just the negate effect is once per turn. The other effect is each player discards a card and then special summon Graffa from your graveyard or that is banished, and then each player with a hand discards one card. This is the only not hard once per turn effect. Not that it really does a whole lot for you, I guess. Just for example, this card, completely useless, honestly. Exterior Preparations. So, if I have Exterior Preparations, what does this do for me? So, if we go turn 1, I set up my cash board, then we have Preparations. Turn 2, my opponent activates Evenly Matched. Preparations is useless against that. My opponent activates Infinite Impermanence. Preparations is useless against this. This has to be activated, like, before a trap is activated. So, just for example, if we chain 1, Prep, chain 2, Infinite Impermanence, then Infinite Impermanence on, like, for example, Shangri-Ira. This will get negated, this won't activate. And then there's also chain 1, Shangri-Ira, chain 2, Infinite Impermanence, and then chain 3, Preparations. Preparation doesn't actually you get to activate the effect to look at the hand and banish a card face down. And then by turn 3, assuming my opponent is on back row, but what if they set 5 pass and have or not set 5, set 6 pass, or set 5 pass and normal summon a dude or whatever. They have no hand cards for me to banish with Preparations. Just mentioning that, I guess, because, bro, this card feels like doo-doo. But, yeah. The thing about these hand traps is there are just decks that randomly just aren't that affected by them, so that'll feel pretty frustrating to play, honestly, in my opinion. in like best of one, if you have to play them, right? Because you feel like you're just getting cheesed, right? So that's not great. Well, I mean, yeah. So, oh, this deck does this, so Droll is effective. Oh, this deck does this, so Droll is not effective against it, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, that's a little bit miserable in my opinion. So, yeah, whatever. Well, yeah, I guess that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.